Friday, nasties. How you doing out there? It's sunny, but it's cold, and the snow is coming. So if you have nothing to do this weekend, just stay indoors and stay warm and stay safe. Welcome to EST Afternoons. Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage, our producer, Zachticum. Fun show today coming up. Like always, if you'd like to listen to us, hit us up on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, the TuneIn or iHeartRadio apps. You want to watch us, EST YouTube channel. And if you want to chat with us, the Nasty Chat's always available for you. So is the text line, 780-218-9999. And we're coming to you live from the William Huff Studios here in the west end of the city. Today on the show, lots of Oilers talk, of course. Highlights, lowlights at 1:20. You've been warned. It's going to be ugly. 1:40, Guy Flaming, host of the Pipeline Show, and Edmonton Oil Kings color analyst, as they have a game tonight and Sunday, and they have their teddy bear toss night on Sunday as well. So we'll get a good idea of what's going on with the Oil Kings. And then the second hour, Tim Hauraney, live from Vegas, will help us preview the Las Vegas Grand Prix, as they have practice 3 coming up later today, then qualifying.
This evening,
and then the race. So fun show. And, of course, the EST Flyaway to L.A., which is presented by the 780. We will have another qualifier to wrap up this week. But, Gager, holy cannoli, that game yesterday, it was something else, wasn't it?
Well, I couldn't believe the Browns won. I
did not see that one coming. We also have a good beer debate, but we'll save that for later. We were just arguing about beer. Gager, Jay Milne, and myself. It's okay to have crappy beer once in a while. That's my point here. But yeah. Hey, listen, we didn't give the Browns a chance.
Dude, you know what makes me like it? Fridays here is great because everyone's a little bit on edge, but happy it's the weekend. So it's a lot of fun there's a lot of debate, let's just say, going on at EST. Dusty, I know you're listening. You would have loved to been in studio today. Anyways, if you can all recall yesterday when I was talking about just that game, Steelers going up against the Ravens, the emotion that was so high at that point, going up against Mr. Jackson and winning. And then I said it myself. I said it to myself. I said, look, Self, there's usually a letdown in those places. But what do? I add the Pittsburgh Steelers to win on my parlay. And what a roller coaster of emotions. We'll get to that hockey game later, and that was something on its own. But I was flipping back and getting angrier and angrier. Then I see them go up 18-6, and then I'm completely upset. And then I go back, and all of a sudden, they come back and win. Gager's flying high. The Gage meter is on high at that point. And then just to be completely dashed at the end by the Cleveland Browns. But I'll have to say that was a very enjoyable quarter and a half of football to watch when it just started snowing.
Oh, that's great.
And it just went nuts. And I was into it. I loved it. But I think more so just seeing the fans. I don't think anyone left.
No.
You know?
Some guys had their shirts off.
That was ridiculous. I mean, but good for the Cleveland Browns. Who knows? Terrible season again. But I was, even though my parlay lost, I was quite happy on the end result.
Yeah. It's always a fun game, and to beat a division rival, Browns fans were happy, even though they won't be going to the playoffs. Let's get to, of course, the game here in town. The Oilers lost 5-3 to Minnesota Wild. I think the score flattered the Oilers, Gager. I don't think I'm out of line saying that.
That's a 5 to me. It's a 5-1 game.
Yeah,
like a ridiculous bounce where I don't know how that puck jumps right at the last moment to go between the Flowers' legs. I mean, you create your own luck a little bit with a net front presence, but still Corey Perry's goal goes off Spurgeon at that point. But let's face it, Nanso, that was men against boys. That looked like a Champions League football game where the Premier League is playing a second league, and they just had no business being in that.
No, and it's bad to say that because the Oilers, well, a lot of people call them Stanley Cup contenders. I don't think they are right now. They're a playoff team, sure. But for
are
me,
they?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, they're not playing like it. For me, a putrid defensive effort, a dead offense. Did they have one good look yesterday, Gager, offensively? Like, seriously. Did Marc-Andre Fleury have to make one tough save?
No.
Exactly. Goaltending needs to be better. It's plain and simple. Even Chris Knobloch said. So I have some quotes from Chris Knobloch's presser we'll get to shortly here. And this is what it's tough, Gager. Even with the break they got to open the scoring, then they get a goal called off the board for the Minnesota Wild, right? Then they get another lucky break with the Corey Perry, and they don't take advantage of the situation. They look so disengaged, lazy defensively. The attention to detail is lacking again, Gager. This team is too far advanced in where they are as a core, as a team, the maturity of the team to be this bad, Gager. And listen, kudos to Minnesota. That's a hell of a team over there.
Well, I don't really know because they didn't have much competition last night.
No.
They looked good.
Yeah, but the Oilers didn't make them work for a goal.
No, they created their own stuff, but no, they met that first goal was just manhandling. It almost looked unfair. They should have got a penalty for being too assertive. Like that is a unbelievable line. That Goldie, and
Kaprizov.
Kaprizov
and Eriksson Ek.
Eriksson Ek, like those are big. They are big men.
But it wasn't even that line. It was their second and third line.
It was a third line that was that did the kind of the most damage at that point. But I was more interested to watch the defensive core of the Minnesota Wild. Spurgeon's great. You see what he does. Obviously, the bad break off his skate there, but they really weren't tested.
No.
And you know what? The one thing I've noticed about the Oilers, and I think a few other analysts have brought this up, and maybe that's why I was focused on it a little bit more last night. But there's not a ton of chances off the rush, and I don't like static breakouts. I when you see the Oilers defensemen, like they get the puck and then circle back and have the controlled breakout, I don't like allowing the other teams to set up in their defensive structure through the offensive and neutral zone and eventually getting into the defensive zone. Like these teams practice that. The only guy that can really break that down is usually Connor, just because of speed. That's probably the only player in the league, maybe McKinnon too, I guess. But you're just allowing teams to set up and not keeping them on edge. There is one thing that the Oilers did really well at the beginning of that 16-game winning streak of last year was their ability to play defense without the puck in the neutral zone. And by that I mean they were causing turnovers and reattacking quick. They weren't taking it back and starting from a set piece point. Like thinking quickly. The processors on this team. It's an Amiga or Commodore 64 right now. We're talking about playing chess around here, right? You're always two steps ahead. These guys are just making to look, okay, let's make a move now. Okay, I'll make that move. There's no forward thinking, especially last night. Well,
and we talked about it on the post-game show, and I think it's pretty evident that we would all agree, if you watch this team all year, they need an upgrade on defense. They can't move the puck, Gager. And yesterday we saw a lot of situations where simple passes cannot be made. Simple passes cannot be made. The blender came out in the third period. We saw Bouchard play with Stetcher for 2-3 shifts. Yeah. I don't know if, for you, is that a message being sent?
Message to the forwards on the ice with them that they better play defense, yeah.
Or Bouchard, okay, you're not playing with Ekholm anymore. Combined, Ekholm and Bouchard yesterday had 9 giveaways, Gager. I asked Reed and Tommy this, is it a case that they're playing too much? What's going on with that top pairing? Because some games they're +3, next game they're -4. They're just all over the place. And I get this decor is very bad. Guys, there was one play in the third, Gage, I don't know if you remember. The puck is in the defensive zone. And Stetcher and McDavid, they're both looking at each other. No one knows who to grab the puck. McDavid finally grabs it and is shaking his head while skating up the ice, Gager. He was so damn frustrated. He's pretty much looking at Troy, get the puck, man. And they're just all staring at each other.
What have I been saying? The the number one problem from what I can see with this team on the defensive side of the puck. What have I been there's no communication. There's no I got this guy. It's silent. You could hear it last night. Like when you hear skates on TV, you know, and sticks, like puck hitting sticks, it was a mausoleum last night. Just no jump, nothing.
And it comes to, I'm sorry, Gager, but a lot of that is effort.
No, don't apologize, buddy.
And that's on the players, man. Like, you have to give an effort. And we're going to show 2 goals, because we're not going to show all 5. We'll be here all day. But 2 goals and then a still shot of 1. And it's veteran guys making mistakes. Like, Cass came in hot yesterday. He didn't want to hear that Stuart Skinner needs to be better, but he broke down every goal Minnesota scored. And every goal was an Oiler mistake. Every single goal, Gager. Now, the 3-on-1, it's a good finish, but it comes from a mistake, Gager.
Yeah, but that was the mistake in the offensive zone on that one. I like that. They generated their own play there. Great pass off the pillows to bury it. And not a lot of urgency getting back either. Like, there was a few times. Like, even in the second period, there was a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's just, shouldn't happen.
But, and like, listen, sometimes, most of the time, they won't get there, but you want to see an effort, Gager. And the guys are just giving up. They're gliding, saying, well, let's hope Skinner can make a save. Let's hope the one guy back can break it up. These were quotes from the Knob yesterday, Gager. Okay? And this says, don't shoot the messenger. It's not me. This is straight from the coach, who probably was his most honest as he's been as in his tenure with the Edmonton Oilers, okay? Mm-hmm. He said, losing battles around the net, 5-10 feet around the blue paint, not good enough. Agree?
Well, yeah, they're losing all of them. And a team like, the Minnesota Wild, when I watched them last night, the first, if I could describe them with one word, and I thought about this while I was walking the dog late last night, was honest. They're an honest team. Mm-hmm. There's an honest effort. They play... Even with the amount of skill they have, their type of game is simplified to the basic form of hockey. But they work very hard and they execute very well. And when you add those 3 things together, usually means that you end up with 2 points at the end of the night. There's not like I switched to the football game in, I believe it was the second period, when the Nuge had the puck in the slot, then made a good move. Had a step on the guy. Even if you look at Fleury at that point, he's dead to rights if Nuge takes 2 more steps and lets it go. And he does a drop pass in the slot.
Yeah.
A drop pass.
A drop pass.
Are you kidding me?
To a guy that's covered. Completely covered.
I just... Yeah, it's a mess.
All right.
It's an absolute mess.
Next quote. You need good players, but you need good players working hard. That's a shot at his good players, Gager, at the big boys.
Oh yeah, because there's no they're on the offensive side of the puck, because now they have the mindset that, gosh, we need to outscore our problems here, and so they're just thinking and that's not how you win. That's not how you win. It's bad habits created that way, and all you're going to do is give chances to the other team. There needs to be I think after 20 games we can say this, that there needs to be a mindset change within the Edmonton Oilers on how to play, because they can't play like they did last year. It's not the same team. I don't know what that is. If the coaching staff has to get together and throw out the blueprints here and go, this is how we all have to play. And that means everyone. That means 29. That means 97. That means whoever number. They all have to start playing the same. Because tell me something. When you watched the Minnesota Wild last night, could you actually distinguish what was the difference between the first line and, let's say, the third line?
No.
Because they all played the exact same way.
Yeah. Next quote. Sometimes players get mistaken identity. Try to make the extra pass, play on the perimeter. And that was the one that stood out to me the most, because what he's saying is a lot of his role players, Gager, a lot of the guys in the bottom six think they're skill guys now.
Yeah.
Stick to what's made you successful in the NHL. And for a guy like Adam Henrique, I get it. You were a top six guy. You're not that guy anymore, buddy. So that to me was pretty telling, that he said some players get a mistaken identity sometimes. And that can go for a lot of the players on this team, Gager.
I mean, this is this kind of the first time where you've seen shots across the bow from what in the media with the coaching. Like, they're fed up, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
Good.
Yeah, it's about time. But again, they're handcuffed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are injuries. Let's mention that too. A lot of, but I think because the homework that I gave to all our listeners to watch the Leafs game, that looked like they were going to get steamrolled by the Golden Knights. Just looking at the injuries that were on the Leafs, that was not the case. You got hungry players, and doing everything right, and that's kind of what I was. I don't know. That's maybe what I was thinking, though. We might get from the Oilers, but we did not.
No, they have no pulse right now. This is the last one, and I left this for last because you're a goalie, and I want to understand this. So he was asked about Stuart Skinner. He said, yeah, he's not playing at the level he was last year. He also added, we need to be more predictable in front of him so he knows where the shots are coming from. Tonight was not a predictable night for a goalie. Thoughts?
So I think what he means there is there's a trust factor with between the defensive structure of your teammates and your goaltenders. And I look, Darnell Nurse has been outstanding, I think, for the last few games. He's been really good. But what we saw I should just put everyone in the same boat. But when things aren't going the right way, you're almost trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Right. So now with Stuart Skinner, he can't rely on, okay, my player has covered that guy. I don't have to worry about that, right? So I can focus on the shooter itself.
Yeah.
Like, he's having to think, well, he's got him, but not really.
Does he really have him?
Does he really have him? And so he can't. He's got to try to. He's got 10 balls in the air trying to juggle right now. Oh, and all these other things start, instead of just simplifying his game and go, okay, he has the puck. Where's the danger coming from? If he moves, like, maybe one spot, but he's got to think about so many other things that he has to worry about all of a sudden, and he can't. He can't get his game in a place where he's reliable. Then the coverage in his own zone is reliable enough where he can just focus on stopping the puck.
Yeah, and listen, he talked about the battle in their own zone. He talked about good players needing to work hard. He talked about mistaken identity. Some players think they're they have another skill set when they don't. And he talked about the goaltending. And Gage, it's the first time we've heard Knoblauch kind of be this honest, but I thought those quotes stood out to me. Coming up next, we do have to get to a break. We're going to do highlights, lowlights. It's make sure you tune in for it, because you're going to be blown away by some of the video footage we're going to show you. And again, we don't do this to embarrass anyone or anything, but we break down the game, we break down the mistakes. That's all we're doing here. It is a sports show, because I've been taking some heat because I'm too hard on the Edmonton Oilers, Gagers. So the Latino heat's going to go to a Latino light right now. And but coming up next, it will be highlights, lowlights, as we'll break down 3 goals against the Edmonton Oilers. Unfortunately, Gagers, there's no highlight.
That's okay.
But that's all coming up.
You can see it in your mind's eye.
That's all coming up next here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. Keep sending messages on the Nasty Chat. Hit us up, 780-218-9999. But first up, here's Zach Kubusch with a sports update.
Just 2 games in the NHL, with the Jets opening up the night against the Penguins before the Sabres meet with the Ducks. And Brett Howden has signed a 5-year, $12.5 million extension, with the Golden Knights having 8 goals for 9 points in 20 games this season. And in Edmonton, Gavin McKenna and the Tigers get set to play the Oil Kings on an 8-game WHL slate, while the Golden Bears men's hockey team holds their first ever teddy bear toss when they take on the Huskies. And in the NFL, the Giants have released Daniel Jones after Jones's grant for release was approved this morning. Jones is fresh off signing a $160 million 4-year extension last year. In NBA Cup group stage action goes down with 8 games, including the Nets tipping off with the 76ers and the Mavericks with the Nuggets. Just after the break, it's Highlights, Lowlights here on EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch with your sports update.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for 2, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers tip off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of Injury Law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
126. Welcome back to EST Afternoons on this cold but sunny Friday. The snow is coming, so there's a snowfall warning for Edmonton. So if you don't have to go out this weekend, just stay indoors, watch some sports, watch Band of Brothers.
Yes.
Stock up on the wine, and just have a good old time at home. Have a good old time at home. So Dusty put out something yesterday on Twitter as well, that where the Oilers, Gager, have only beaten one playoff, a team that's in the playoffs right now.
I know, I saw that.
You know who that is?
The Calgary Flames.
Yes, that's the Calgary Flames. Hernan Light back with Joaquin Gage, the Joaquino Heat.
I wasn't hot.
You're pretty hot.
Lukewarm at best.
He's lukewarm. We're gonna get the highlights, lowlights here. Every goal. If go back and watch post game, Cass broke down all 5 goals, and he did it quickly, but he pointed it out so well.
He's got to slow himself down a little bit,
and he's getting feisty too.
But yeah, I see he copied my toque look. That's why I'm wearing a hat today.
So Zach, we're gonna start with the second goal against the Wild, and just let it. If you're watching, here it comes. If you're listening, we're going to do our best to explain the goal here. But here it is, Gage. We can watch it there. So the puck comes around the corner there. I just want people to look at Bouchard. I kind of circled him in red there. Just watch him, though, Gager. And I'm going to freeze it right here. Are you telling me that's he takes no one, first of all. He sees the rebound coming out. And look at that effort.
I got to say, buddy, I'm sorry, but the only thing worse than Bouchard's play right there is your circle that you put on there. That was like a upside down M.
I did it quickly, okay?
I don't know what that was. Look at that. That's not a circle. What is that?
But look there. Look there. He's Gage.
Oh, yeah.
When the puck's going to the point, he's backing up, taking no one.
Sometimes, he's got the best seat on. But then what happens is, what I hate mostly is the reaching for the puck.
Yes.
And not the initial the initial reaction, I think, in this situation should just be go to blow this guy up. Like, get your stick in there. You're trying to interfere, but you're looking to, be physical, not tiddlywink it around in front of the net with it's a terrible, terrible look. And then he gets a little bit aggressive like he doesn't.
When it's too late.
It's too late. Like
Gager, look, I want you to look. No, that's fine. But when the puck goes to the point, he looks behind him. There's no one there, but he keeps backing up. There's no Minnesota Wild player there.
But I think he's thinking, I got to get out of the way so Stuart Skinner can. But this is what I'm talking about with playing chess, not checkers. Okay?
Yeah.
Puck goes to the point. What does that mean? Shots coming. Okay, well, am I screening my goalie? Probably not, but there's probably someone come to that. Who's my guy? I got to recognize that. I got to make it tough to get to the front of the net. That wasn't a tough goal for the Minnesota Wild to play. But it's a very simplified goal. It's a shot from the point, getting it through with traffic, going to the net for rebounds.
I don't put that one on Skinner because he's screened. He's
battling. He makes the save.
Yeah.
You need help, man.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like one. Yeah, you want to be able to make a second save at times, but come on.
Yeah.
When you this is what we were talking about before. Like, so the trust in the players, it's just not there anymore because, okay, Skinner goes, okay, we're outnumbering. It's a 1-on-2 in front, and I'm being screened. I stop the puck. I'm thinking, okay, I've got one guy taking the man in front, one guy probably come in and get the rebound. It doesn't happen. It becomes a 2-on-1 in front with a late back checker.
Yeah, I'm getting sharp for my drawing there, but whatever, guys. I did it quickly, okay? Leave me alone.
It was hilarious. Hernan's
let's go to the second Minnesota Wild's third goal. Zachticum, if we can, please. And this one's just sloppy. There's no other way to put it, Gager. This is just sloppy play by I'll say everyone on the ice here. Again, point shot comes down, goes around, point shot again, puck's right there. Stetcher just swing and a miss, and then I think Josh Brown hits it right to Marcus Johansson there, and that's just sloppy.
Well, everyone's looking at the puck again, but it comes loose right here.
Yeah,
and then so there's just should I get it? Who's going to get it? Are we going on a 3? Like everyone's playing on the other side of the puck here instead of just being solid defensively. Go and take somebody. Take them out of the play here. I mean, Brown actually does a good thing clearing the front of the net there. Makes a block. Everyone's on the offensive side of the puck, and then it just, they're playing tiddlywinks back there, and Stetcher's working a give and go with the wrong team. And I find it very difficult to blame Skinner here because he's tracking the puck well. It's going there, coming back. All of a sudden, there's two guys standing there with their sticks in the proper position. They can't block the cross ice pass. That's where Skinner's saying, okay, well, there's two guys in the way. I can focus on the play, and the puck still gets across for a one-timer. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's not good. And then this is the fourth goal. It's just a picture, but I just want to show it because the guy that's late here and the guy that loses his man is Adam Enrique right there on the at the bottom, right on top of courtesy of Sportsnet. He lost that puck in the offensive zone, Gager, and his guy ends up scoring. Lazy effort coming back because the other two guys have their man, but Enrique again. And how many times have we seen this, Gager, when the Oilers guy is just one step behind? Every time.
White on rice, man. He should be right beside that guy.
Yeah.
Just right beside him. Beside him. So that's it. It's the effort is a long way from where it used to be with this team from game to game. It's there sometimes, but it's not there all the time. And last night, I mean, you talk about categories of where you put the Edmonton Oilers. Are they a playoff contender? Are they a Stanley Cup contender? Or are they a battling team for a wild card spot right now?
Yeah, it's Not good enough. Thanks, Zach. Let's get to the inbox and the nasty chat. Matt at the Garen says, puck watching again. Lingus99 says, Bouchard backs up and reaches with no stride. That's what Gager was alluding to. Spencer, his worst thing is we knew this about Bouchard when we drafted him. This is so deeply ingrained and it won't change. C-Run says, that's worth $10 million. Bouchard has scored 50 goals. Would have to score 50 goals to outscore his mistakes. This one says, literally the worst softie I've ever seen. Worse than Justin Schultz. In fairness to Justin Schultz, those were horrible teams. Like, they didn't have a chance on most nights. Dolphinia says, these are all goals Skinner should have saved. I mean, sure, that's up for debate, but the defense in front of him is absolutely atrocious. Let's see here. Let's see if we have anything. Stamp Hater says Bouchard does what Nurse does defensively. Why are they different, Hernan? I'm not saying they're different. I'm saying Nurse is having a better year than him, but Nurse has those lapses too. And I don't think if you've watched this show since September, I'm pretty. If you're claiming that I'm a Nurse defender, I think you got me. I'm very honest and fair with Darnell Nurse, and I think he's been really good this year. Has he had his moments? Sure. And did he struggle last year mightily? Yes, but
off year
yeah.
for Darnell. You're going to have that.
This year he's been a lot better than last year. That's all I'm saying.
And we're critical of Darnell Nurse, and we're critical about a lot of players. This is kind of what we do. But I think this is giving fans an actual opportunity to see what happens when you take a defenseman of Darnell Nurse's caliber out of the lineup. It wasn't a great game by anyone last night, but he's missed. Hopefully, he's back by Saturday night.
Yeah, Dexter says Hernan only defends Skinner, not Nurse. No, I don't defend Stuart Skinner. I've said it every day on this show. He needs to be better, but I'm not putting all 5 goals on him yesterday, Gager. Sure, you don't want to save. Of course, I understand that, guys. We've been talking about this for far too long. I'm not going to get into it again. Everybody on this team needs to be better, Gager. You have an appetite for... would you have an appetite for a John Gibson?
No.
Okay. Why?
He's not the goalie he once was.
Okay.
And if that's John Gibson 5-6 years ago, I might have time because he made a good team really good.
Yeah.
I don't think he's capable. There's a lot of miles on John Gibson now. He's had to deal with a very porous defensive team for a long time. It's almost like he's been goalie abused, and it's just
he's damaged goods.
Yeah, that's a tough way. He would need if you had John Gibson. I look, this is a bad comparison. I'm not comparing him to Patrick Waugh, but when Patrick Waugh went from the Montreal Canadiens to the Colorado Avalanche, Patrick was getting lit up because the Canadiens were so bad, and he goes to Colorado, which all of a sudden has this very good defense and team structure that allows him to be able to have confidence in his defensemen and the defensive play. The rest is history. Wins Stanley Cups after that. From what I've seen from the Edmonton Oilers, they're not even close to that level of defensive structure that can allow John Gibson. John Gibson's coming here, and it's just, at this point, it's Anaheim Part 2.
Yeah. How old is he? He's
in his 30s.
He's 31.
Yeah.
I thought he's
that's still good, but again, it's not like Indiana Jones always said, it's not the age. It's the mileage.
A Skinner-Gibson tandem would be good because you can probably split it right down the middle.
Yeah, but he makes too much, dude.
Okay, I'll ask you this. Saturday, who do you start in net?
I go Skinner, man. I think you...
I think our nasty chat's going to say Pickard.
Of course they will. But how many of them have been in front of the vulcanized rubber? Not very many.
No, that's why I go to you. You're the expert.
And I say, you know what? Get him right back in there. I think there's a little bit of a... You see the look in him. He's getting mad. You know what I'd do if I'd shave the stash. I'd go clean, start fresh. Sometimes a fresh start always helps.
Maybe I'll shave your head or something like that. Just a whole new look, right? But you say no to Gibson. I would entertain it for sure. I think he improves your tandem. And nothing against Calvin Pickard. He's done everything
So are you trading Skinner for? Are you going the other way with it?
That's interesting though, because if you are getting Gibson, are you trading Skinner?
Well, yeah, you have to at that point because the total, I think your amount of cap wrapped up, it's so low right now. Well, you couldn't do it with the Oilers. That's the thing. He's making 6.4 for the next 3 years.
They would.
I don't mind it because the only reason I don't mind it is to have about 8% of the cap wrapped up in goalies. I think that's the max. I think that's where they would kind of be around there. But no, I'd rather have Dostal the way he's playing.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll ask you the nasty chat. We'll ask our listeners: Would you entertain? Would you be okay with John Gibson? But now that you say his kind of price tag, yeah, Skinner would have to go the other way, and you'd probably have to shed some
other
more
stuff.
cap.
Yeah,
unless they want to eat some of it, Anaheim, they might. I mean,
they might.
But you're worried about his health and his age.
You're talking about this is completely hypothetical. I wouldn't do it in the first place. We're just saying if it happens. But I wouldn't. I don't think John Gibson is the answer for the Edmonton Oilers. Even if it all worked out, I don't think that helps the Oilers in any way right now. And I don't think he'd even come here because I think because he's a U.S. born player. I really think he wants to remain in the U.S.
Yeah. Dolphini says Hernan is a yes man. He agrees with everything Gager and Matt Cassian say. Well, I just disagreed.
Who said that?
Dolphinius. I just disagreed with you, Gager. So and with Cass, Tom and I have told Cass like we're not defending Stuart Skinner anymore. And Cass is a big boy, and he thinks Skinner's just been fine, and that's fine. That's what a good conversation is. That's what having opinions is all about. Because I think he needs to be better.
I don't think he's the reason by any means.
Yeah.
There's been moments where I've said he should have had that, but there hasn't been one of those games when he's just been red rotten and the team has been good, right? Remember those games that we used to get with, sometimes with Koskinen and Mike Smith, where the team played well and they would score, but then the other team would get a weak one. They'd score, and there would be like a one through the arm. You're not getting that.
Yeah, no.
We're not seeing really like the goals that are scored are on rebounds and things, and everyone's saying he's got to stop that. Rewind a few years and remember what it was like. Like a lot of times, Stuart Skinner's stopping the first puck in a difficult situation. It's screens. It's these. He's making a second save, and the third one's going like. I don't know if you really think that John Gibson can make 2-3 more saves than Stuart Skinner. I got an FJ Cruiser to sell you because I'm.
Herb's Ho says, no, you keep Skinner. Trade Pickard, Jeff Skinner, and a defenseman.
I love it.
I don't see why Anaheim would want a backup goaltender and an underachieving top 6 guy, but sure. I mean, that's interesting because I guess The Athletic put it out that John Gibson would be willing to waive his no move to come to Edmonton.
Really?
I'm trying to look for the article. If someone has it, can you just text it in so we can read it through it? I just don't want to give false information. But we're going to switch gears a bit. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by Guy Flaming, host of the Pipeline Show and the Oil Kings color analyst, as they have a 2-game set coming up this weekend starting tonight, and it's the Teddy Bear Toss Night on Sunday. So we'll chat about that as well. More Oilers talk, but up next, Oil Kings with Guy Flaming here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. First up, here's Zach with a sports update.
It's the Jets and Penguins before the Sabres face the Ducks with just 2 games in the NHL. And elsewhere, the Golden Knights have signed Brett Howden to a 5-year extension worth a total of $12.5 million. And in Edmonton, the Oil Kings have puck drop against the Tigers, while the Golden Bears men's hockey team plays the Huskies during their very first Teddy Bear Toss game. And down south, Daniel Jones's request to be released from the Giants has been granted, with Jones needing to pass through waivers to make it official. On the court, we see the Celtics meet the Wizards and the Kings tip off with the Clippers, having 8 games in NBA Cup action. On the other side of the break, Guy Flaming joins Hernan Salas, and Joaquin Gage. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you in the loop.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Book your holiday party at the CBH today. The Canadian Brewhouse is your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Visit and book now in-store or at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki in a tuxedo t-shirt because it says, like, he wants to be formal, but he's also here to party too.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Wye Road Park.
It's 1:45 here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Redbeard says, boys, did I miss the beer debate? I'm sure I have an opinion. No, not yet. That's coming up.
Oh,
in this,
you would be angry.
that come up in the
Redbeard.
second hour, along with Tim Hauraney, F1 analyst, and of course our EST flyaway to LA. But it's a busy weekend for the Edmonton Oil Kings. And with that, we're going to talk all things Oil Kings with our guy, Guy Flaming, of course, host of the Pipeline Show and Edmonton Oil Kings color analyst. Guy, my friend, how you doing, man?
Oh, hey, guys. I'm doing really well. Sorry, I was just cleaning up some hardware here. The old EST.
Oh,
EST
that's right. That's right. He's an EST winner.
Gotta brag when I can.
Humble brag.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Edmonton Oilers, Guy. No, I'm just kidding. We'll move
I
on.
actually have I want to throw a name at you guys because I was just listening to the John Gibson conversation. If you're going to buy low on a goalie, is Tristan Jarry completely out of the picture? Like, the guy lives here in the offseason. He's cheaper than John Gibson.
That's that would be a resurrection project, I think, a little bit.
Are his numbers as bad as they are because of him or because Pittsburgh's defense is atrocious?
That's a good point.
That is a really good point. Look, I like Jarry. I liked watching him when he was here. I thought he's shown that he established himself as a number one in Pittsburgh. Again, I just worry about the last few seasons and the confidence factor, and then coming into a situation where he's no stranger to the Edmonton Oilers, knowing where they're supposed to be. I just don't think the way that they're playing defensively is conducive to a goalie coming in here right now. I think they got to use what they have.
So you think the Pittsburgh Penguins defense is bad, and coming here wouldn't be a step up for him?
The team's better.
Pittsburgh's not,
but the defense
they're not a playoff
bad.
team. They're. I don't think they all kind of realize that. That's how I look at it. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, Guy.
You guys watch the NHL way more than I do, so I defer to you.
Well, Guy, let's get to the Oil Kings. They sit at 9-10, 1-1 after 21 games. They'll take on the second place Medicine Hat Tigers. They have a star on their roster. What do you make of tonight's? First of all, how's the season gone in your eyes, and what are you anticipating tonight down at Rogers Place?
Way more positives than negatives for the Oil Kings so far this year. One of the things to keep in mind, you look in where they are in the standings, you're like, oh, that's not all exciting. Really close, though. The numbers, like teams, a lot of teams bunched up together.
Yeah.
They played 15 of their first 20 on the road.
Wow.
So they've got a back-heavy home schedule. and I think their next 14 or 15 are, including this past Wednesday, are at home. So that sets up well for success in the back half of the season. So I like that for sure for the Oil Kings. But they're playing some pretty good hockey. This is a much better team than we've seen the last 2 years here in Edmonton. So it's a fun team to watch. They got some really electric players. And I think tonight's game should be another thriller. Medicine Hat was here last week, and it was an outstanding hockey game. Just the relentless pace. There's a lot of star power on the ice when those two teams get together.
Well, Guy, I don't know how familiar you are with the Medicine Hat Tigers, but there's a local product on their team, Hunter St. Martin. His dad played at the U of A for years, complete animal. But I've watched him because his mom and my wife are good friends. They're old figure skaters at the Glenora Club. Just got drafted, and I could see the change in him. And right now, he is leading the Medicine Hat Tigers in goals with 18 already. What can you tell me about just the progression of Hunter St. Martin and what he's been able to, after being drafted, that confidence level, what it's done for him, and now with Medicine Hat being kind of a favorite to get to come out of the West?
It's funny, his numbers compared to last year, night and day. I mean, he was a good player last year, and that's why he got drafted. But like, he was a 6th or 7th round pick, I believe, by Florida, and now suddenly he's like one of the leading goal scorers, not just in the Dub, but in the entire Canadian Hockey League. It's a remarkable boost for him, and you have to chalk it up to just having that confidence. Now, he had a really good camp in Florida. I was watching a lot of the reports coming out of Florida because of Grayson Sauchin, but Hunter St. Martin got signed before Sauchin did after the NHL camp, and that's remarkable. Sauchin's a 2nd round pick, but the 6th rounder or 7th rounder gets signed first. I thought that was notable, but I don't think he's Blair St. Martin for the Tigers. Like, as you mentioned, he was a beast. I remember watching him at the U of A. It's probably the first time I saw him. He was the captain. Now he's like a urologist, right? So
one of the tops in the world. It's very frustrating. Yeah.
Well, so he's a surgeon, but it's his kid right now who's operating with surgical precision.
Oh, I like that, Guy.
There you go.
Guy, we talked to Manny Arsenal, I think last week early on, and he trains Blake Fiddler in the off season because they're out there in Texas and all that. What can you tell me about his play so far this year? Manny spoke glowing of him. Great kid. Yeah. He's grown immensely. He trains like a pro. What have you made of Blake Fiddler this year?
It's hard to not sound biased because he's an Oil King, but he's a fantastic player. He's huge. Like, he's 6'4" and 210 pounds now. And I think when they drafted him, he was like 5'10". It's ridiculous how quickly things can change at that age. But he skates really well. He's starting to really add a physical element to his game. He's going to play for the CHL next week. I guess he's a dual citizen, but I really think of him more as an American because he's born down there and grown up down there. So he's the only American who will be on the CHL roster to play against the National Development Program. And he's gone now. All of those guys have left their teams to hook up and start getting ready for that series. So he won't be in the lineup tonight or on Teddy Bear Sunday, from what I understand, at least, that he's left town now. But everybody's got him penciled in to be a first rounder this year, and I think that's justified. He's been really, really strong.
I guess the big dog of the whole game is this Gavin McKenna. He's not even eligible for the draft yet. What can you tell us about this player, and are we seeing a kind of another, I don't know, is this a Connor Bedard kind of situation where he just keeps getting better and better and probably start selling out at WHL rinks sometime soon?
He's so fun to watch. Very fluid. He's very slippery. He's not always, I wouldn't say he's as flashy as Bedard was at the same age. Maybe he grows into that, but he's a guy, sometimes you don't notice him for a period, yet he picked up 2 points. He's just very sneaky, and he lets go of the puck really quick. Like, his decision making is, I think, what sets him apart from a lot of guys, is that his IQ, he's able to recognize what he needs to do and does it really quickly. So he's a fantastic player. No question, he's going to be the first overall pick in the 2026 draft. God, that just I feel like I'm in old man when I'm talking about the 2026 NHL draft. Holy cow. But yeah, no, he's a great player and worth the price of admission tonight. If you're still looking for something to do, definitely come out and watch him. But there's a lot of talent on both sides of the ice tonight.
Yeah, it should be a good crowd tonight. And the last game was 2-1, right, Guy? It was a really close game.
Between the two teams? Yeah, last week it was. And it was a low-scoring game, but lots of shots. Both goaltenders were terrific and end-to-end and physical. It was one of the best games of the year. It had everything except a lot of scoring.
Guy, when you look at the dub, I'll ask you for two answers here. Who's the best team right now? It's early. And is there a team that's kind of surprising everyone right now where they sit?
I think the surprise is Saskatoon, and just because they were contenders last year, and they were all in last year. They made some big deals. I don't think people expected that they would be able to maintain that in a second year like this, but they have so far. And maybe the bottom the bubble will burst. But you're 20 games into the year now. I think you start having a pretty good sense of what your team is, and they're sitting at the top of the Eastern Conference once again. So maybe that's a bit of a surprise. Although when I talked to Colin Priestner, he's like, everybody always underestimates how good we're going to be. So not a surprise to him. Let's say that. But I think the best team in the league right now is Everett. That's a really quality team. They've got lots of star power. Their defense is fantastic. And that's without even getting to Landon DuPont on the back end. But they've got everything you need in a team. They just made an acquisition to get Corbin Vaughn from the Regina Pats. It should be a nice fit for them. Calgary's a team worth watching, though, because they just made a huge trade a couple of days ago, getting Tanner Howe, who's a second-round pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. They picked him up from the Regina Pats, and that should be an impact player for them. So Calgary's sitting right now. I think they've got a couple of games in hand on Medicine Hat, and if they win one, or they might be 2 points back, that parity in the conference right now really tight. Calgary, though, looking like they think they have a shot at it, so they're going for it.
Guy, you just mentioned how the cyclical nature of the CHL, the Western Hockey League, Saskatoon Blades. Usually, there's a big drop off when you're at the top. So let me ask you this: the Oil Kings have been a young team, kind of building. Where would you put their level of progression? Have they made a few steps from last year? Is this do you think a possible playoff team by the end of the season?
I expect them to be a playoff team. They won it in 2022. The next year, worst team in the league, 10 wins. Yeah. Last year, progression, got close to the playoffs, missed it by 8 or 9 points. This year, I expect them to be in the playoffs. It's usually about a 5-year cycle. So I expect next year they'll be one of the better teams in the league, and the year after that, if everything goes according to plan, they should be contenders. That's been their MO. You go back to when they started in the league in 2007, 2012, they won. Then they won again in 2014, which is really unusual. You go back to that 3-year period, Portland and Edmonton met 3 consecutive years in the WHL final. That's rare. That's you're talking about unicorn type stuff. But then Edmonton's after 2014, they really dropped off. Come back in 2020, the year COVID wiped everything out. They were a contender that year. Yeah. Finally get back to business and win it in 2022. So it's kind of a 5-year cycle, it seems like, for the Oil Kings.
Guy, feel free to call the Portland Winterhawks the factory, okay? That's fine.
No bias coming in from Joaquin Gage though, on that one.
Hey, Guy, so Sunday's the teddy bear toss game. It's always a fun time when I used to work with you guys down there at the rink. It's great. Yeah. I know when the goal is scored, is scored, and the play-by-play guy says goal, and then you have to come in with something creative and funny. Are you still doing that?
No, we stopped doing that after I sang Adele on the air. It's like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. And in fact, there was one year where I wasn't doing color because Corey Graham came back. So Corey and Andrew Peard were kind of trading off. And I think Andrew did some sort of rap or something like that. I'm like, okay, we've jumped the shark. It's like I'm not doing it anymore. I had some good ones along the way. It started with Ken Simpson, and he had a really classic one to begin it. And then when I took over for him, Corey said I had to keep up the tradition. but I think it's run its course at this point.
Didn't you? I remember the Adele one. Didn't you do one though in a voice of a cartoon or something similar to that?
Well, we did. Remember the guy on Monday Night Football? He was like from Mexico or something like that, and he was filling in. And, here he is having the time of his life. That one.
Yeah.
I did that, and I tried to do it in the same sort of cadence that he did it in. That went over well. I did one that was like a traffic report from Rick Pinter. I thought that one was pretty good. There were some good ones along the way, but the Adele one, don't sing on air with headphones on because you can't hear yourself, and it's a cappella as well. There's no music, so I was setting myself up for embarrassment and failure, and I delivered on both of those.
Hey, Guy, if you need some backup, I'm there for you, buddy.
Whose decision was it to squash that idea, or did it come from you guys?
It did come from us. I think it was Andrew and I were just like, yeah, I don't think we're doing it anymore. Running out of good ideas.
I was looking forward to what you had planned this year, but and those audio calls, I wonder where we can get them. It'd be great to play the Adele one sometime.
No,
on the show.
It wouldn't. I'm sure they're around somewhere. I might have one or two of them. I probably don't have that one, but Corey's probably got a few, and I'm sure Andrew has them as well.
Guy, great stuff as always. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Enjoy the game tonight. Drive safely, and then Sunday it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a big crowd, a lot of teddy bears, and hopefully the Old Kings can pick up 2 wins here. Thanks a lot, Guy.
Hey, no problem, fellas. Thanks for the invite.
That's Guy Flaming, host of the Pipeline Show, and of course, Edmonton Oil Kings color analyst. I should ask him what was coming up on the Pipeline Show, Gage. Damn it!
Yeah, well,
I got caught up in the singing and all that.
I'm just gonna. The Medicine Hat Tigers, I think, have a few local products. Matt Peranich, is also on this team. So, I mean, I'm kind of. I follow the Tigers closely just because my buddy's son is on there. Yeah. But great for Hunter. I think I'm a big part of his development as he shot on me as a young kid and learned how to score.
Nice. Follow Guy on Twitter at TPS_Guy. He has all his information on what he has coming up on the Pipeline Show. 20th season. I think that's what it's. Yeah, season 20. He does great work covering junior hockey.
Awesome.
Not just, he goes college. He goes all over the place. He does a wonderful job, and you need people like you.
Guys, and plus, you know what? Like a fresh scoop of lime sorbet to cleanse the palate of some of the stuff with the Oilers. Go watch Edmonton Oil Kings game. You want to see effort, top to bottom from both teams. Go watch a WHL game.
Go watch the future stars. I remember when I was working with the guys, I was watching Dylan Gunther in his rookie year, Jake Neighbors, and then you get to see them.
Yeah.
I remember early on, I got to see Braden Point, Matthew Barzal, and Leon Draisaitl, and Ivan Provorov, but they were too good for the league. Like they stood out.
Yeah.
They stood out. Like,
well, I remember Laurent Brossois, and I'm like, geez, I'd never make a team. I just seeing how good it was crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. So go check it out. Sunday's going to be a great games at 4. Get your tickets and go support. It's a great cause. It's the teddy bear toss. The jersey was in studio yesterday.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it looked
Christmas tree.
Yeah, it looked great. I love the lights on it. But coming up in hour 2, we'll be joined by Tim Hauraney. He is live from Las Vegas as the Grand Prix is there. The Las Vegas Grand Prix takes place tomorrow night. We'll get a preview of that race, and we'll continue the Oilers talk, some NFL talk, and Daniel Jones released after he asked to be released, a Gager. What a story that is. That's all coming up in hour 2. Big shout out to Guy Flaming once again. And if you miss highlights, lowlights, just rewind on the good old YouTube channel. Also coming up in hour 2, the EST flyaway to LA, which is presented by the 780. Hour 2 of EST Afternoons with Joaquin Gage. And Hernan Salas is back after the break.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Looking for a a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website, edmontonsportstalk.com.
On the ice, it's the Penguins facing the Jets and the Ducks battling the Sabres, with the Oilers back at it tomorrow, dropping the puck against the Rangers. And with 8 goals and 9 points in 20 games this season, Brett Howden has signed a 5-year, $12.5 million extension with the Vegas Golden Knights. It's the Medicine Hat Tigers in town to battle the Oil Kings, while the Golden Bears men's hockey team welcomes in the Huskies to hold their very first teddy bear toss game. And Daniel Jones is no longer a Giant as he's requested to be released from the team. Newark has granted his request, with Jones hitting the waiver wire with the possibility of being claimed from another club. Elsewhere, Devontae Smith of the Eagles has been ruled out for Sunday's game versus the Rams. Basketball has the Blazers and Rockets, as well as the Pacers and Bucks going at it during NBA Cup group stage action, with 6 other games around the association. EST Afternoons with Hernan Salas and Joaquin Gage continues right now. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you in the loop.
Hour 2 of EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas, Zachticum, the producer, with us as well. Coming up in this hour, we'll have another qualifier for the EST Flyway to LA, which is presented by the 780. Also, Tim Hauraney, F1 analyst, will join us at 2:20. We'll continue the Oilers talk as well, but first, portion of this hour brought to you by the Canadian Brew House. Book your holiday party at the CBH today, your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Visit and book now at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. Hit us up on the Nasty Chat. Text us 780-218-9999. You can watch us on the EST YouTube channel. If you'd like to listen to us, you can go to TuneIn or the iHeartRadio apps, or go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com and just hit the Listen Live button. We're live from the William Huff Studios here in the west end of the city. And Guy says this is for his show that we forgot to ask. Well, I forgot to ask. He's going to have 2 2025 draft-eligible players, Cole Richesney from the Victoria Royals, and Nick Merteg, U.S. Development, and former Everett Silvertips coach Dennis Williams, who is now coaching at Bowling Green. So seems like he always has two players, 2 prospects, and then a coach as well. So go to TPS_Guy and get all your information there. But he just sent that in. Appreciate that, Guy. I really, really do. What do we have for thumbs up here, Gage? I haven't checked.
It's Friday. I don't look at thumbs up.
We're at 44. Yanni Nienema, Roman Hammerlick.
The Ghost.
Wait, no, Hammerlick wasn't 44. He was 22 here.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You know Yanni, right?
Yeah, the Ghost.
Yeah,
that guy, he was cheap, boy. He would squeeze a nickel till the beaver poops. That guy. At one time, he thought I cut his tie. on a flight. Like that's what you did if someone fell asleep on the plane. You'd cut their ties. Yeah. He thought it was me, and then I don't know. It was the end of the year, and I thought I was going to have to fight the ghost.
Oh no way! Because he got that serious.
Yeah, because he said that was in his Finnish English voice that was my favorite Hugo Boss tie, and I'm like, Ghost, do you think I would actually cut your tie? That was someone else, and it got heated, and
do you know who did it?
I'm pretty sure Doug Waite did it because he was smiling in the back, laughing the whole time.
Jeez. Just quick news, of course, the Daniel Jones news. If you're a New York Giants fan, poor Struddy, right?
I think he's okay with it. I think he's let go.
Yeah, because he was granted his request to be released. The New York Giants will take on, I think here it is, $22.2 million in dead money with the move next season, Gager. Mr. DeVito takes over the reins there, but just never worked out there for Daniel Jones. I think he had one good year where he got that big contract, but I think it's a combination. Maybe he's just not that talented as a QB, but the teams weren't that good either.
Is Dak Prescott a talented quarterback?
It's a good question. He's getting paid like one.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Like it's baffling to me that he looked very ordinary.
Yeah.
You know, aside from the first game, but I think that the first game was against Cleveland, was it not? And there was all this hype and things, and they're beating up on a mediocre team, and then it just completely fell apart. He had to go under surgery to repair his hamstring too.
That's crazy.
That's bad.
It's terrible.
I'd be leery of doing that. I'm surprised he went to the surgery route to repair a tear. Unless but he was walking around. If your hamstring is completely torn, I don't think you're walking around at that point. He was done for the season anyway. I would have tried to just let it heal naturally, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I know for sure. Let's hammer that thumbs up. Let's get to 100 tonight. This afternoon. Let's do it for Zach Hyman. Hopefully he can return tomorrow. Highly unlikely. Or Darnell Nurse. One of the two.
But if they're hurt,
don't rush
it.
Yeah, it's true. Because they get a lot of days off.
There's a ton of time coming off. So, you know what? The rest of the lineup has to pull up the bootstraps and put something forward that you can be proud of at the end of the night, win or lose, I think.
Yeah, and just so for Daniel Jones, he will have to go through waivers. If a team picks him up, they'll have to pick up the rest of the 4-year, $160 million contract that he signed in March 2023, even though a lot of the insiders are saying it's very unlikely to pick him up. So, New York Giants moving on. I think also maybe the pressure playing in New York. You think it's tough here with the Oilers? I can't imagine how bad it is down there. Do you think a team takes a chance on him?
No.
As a backup?
What? No.
No. All right.
Why would you? He's been awful.
No, it's fair, but teams like to pick up some of these guys and see if they can reinvent them. And like I said, I don't see him being a starter, but I think he could land somewhere as a backup. He's got the experience, I guess, so we'll leave it at that.
No. That's it.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Gager's not a fan. I want to tell you, this day in sports history, 1917, the NHL was officially formed in Montreal, Canada.
Really?
What did I say?
Hey, you went French there for a second.
That just came out, man. Holy smokes.
Wow.
1986, Mike Tyson became the youngest to win the world heavyweight boxing crown. He was only 20 years old.
Wow.
What a fall for him. No, I'm kidding. Let's not get back to that fight.
No, that's over.
In 2003, in Edmonton, Alberta, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Edmonton Oilers 4-3 in the first NHL game to be played outside.
Oh, that was a good one.
It was cold.
I heard. I was still stopping pucks in Deutschland at that point. So
okay.
Yeah, we were watching that going, "Oh my gosh," and texting my buddies going, "It is so cold right now." But it looked fantastic. That will always be the best one.
Yeah.
By far.
It's not even close.
Yeah. They had the alumni first were out there, and It was Lafleur,
like the greats.
Like it was star-studded.
Yeah, and I remember that day was like it was -30 with the wind chill,
yeah.
and then the next day it was like -5. It was like you know, it was still sold out, but
I mean, how iconic is the Jose Theodore with the toque on? Just awesome.
Of course, the Oilers would lose that game.
Of course. Ty Conklin.
Adam Oates played in that game.
Didn't Ty Conklin play that game?
It could have been Conkey.
I think I think he's a trivia question. What NHL goaltender has played the most outdoor games? And it's him. He's played like on 4 on all different teams, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe 3.
2016, it was announced that the NHL expansion team in Las Vegas would be named the Vegas Golden Knights. And you're going to like this one.
Okay.
November 22nd, 1990, the Taco Bell trade. The Edmonton Oilers acquire Kerry Taco from the Minnesota North Stars for Bruce Bell.
Really?
Yeah.
Gary Taco?
Yeah. Did you ever meet him? No.
Just there's that guy that made that rap about all those names. I'll show it to you after. It's not for young ears.
That's this day in sports history. It was pretty cool. Remember that 2003 game? I didn't go. I just saw it on TV, Gager. The tickets were pretty expensive. I was still fairly young at that time, but yeah. Gage, I want to ask you this. After Saturday, the Oilers don't play until Friday. If you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most likely, 1 being the most unlikely, do you see the Oilers making a move?
No.
Okay. Oh, what number would you put it at? 0?
0.
Okay. And why is that? Do you think it's just too early?
There's too many no movement clauses and things. What are they going to do? They're up against the cap. There's nothing.
Okay, let's put it this way. Let's say they lose ugly again on Saturday.
No.
Would you like to see something happen?
I think something needs. Well,
yeah, they need something to happen.
They need a shakeup.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is though. Unfortunately, I don't have a. It's funny because, man, we talk about the Elks and how they implemented their structure, right? And how they get a president, now they get a GM.
Yeah.
You had the president of hockey ops making decisions without his GM, right? And then brings in the GM and kind of says, "Here you go." Like the collaboration, maybe. I mean, offense is always the sexiest thing. So the more offensive you get, the better it kind of looks on paper. And you go, "Oh my gosh, they add all this up. That's 500 goals at the end of the regular season." But that's not what's going to happen. The crucial parts about this team were not addressed in the offseason. And I think it was too much of a knee-jerk reaction to how they lost in the last few games of the Stanley Cup playoffs with Leon and Connor going dry.
Yeah.
And they just thought, okay, let's solidify that. But that wasn't the real issue that needed to be solidified with this team.
Because I agree, because it's one of those things where with the...
And I'm not saying I got the crystal ball. Like, I probably would have done the exact same thing if that was that looks great. You know?
No, because when that day Jeff Jackson signed like 8 forwards, we were all over the moon.
Yeah.
We were like, holy smokes, this team
This is
just
unbelievable.
But I think most people saw the defense and said that defense didn't get better, that decor.
Well, at that point, you still had Broberg and Ceci, too. So you weren't as...
That's a good point, yeah. And listen, and I include myself in this. I wanted an upgrade on Ceci. They moved Ceci, Gager. We all thought they were going to match Broberg. They didn't. They brought in a young Emberson who's playing better.
He looks good, man. I think he can get to a CC level.
Sure.
But that's like 2 years from now.
Yeah, but they didn't improve. They didn't get better players than Desharnais and CC. They didn't.
No.
They didn't.
No.
Just go back to in this season. So I think everybody...
And they lost. Yeah, Broberg losing him.
Yeah, that's the big one for me. And, people are asking on the Nasty Chat, like, just make a move for shock value. But this is why I'll counter that. I'll counter with this. This team, Gager, should not need that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're telling me Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, Matthias Ekholm, Zach Hyman, They were one win away from the Stanley Cup. They need a trade to wake them up.
No, it should. It should. They're the oldest team in the league that needs to be treated like a bunch of young kids. That's not cool.
If this is 2018, I would understand more and say, yeah, make it, rattle cages, get the young guys to kind of perk up and be like, holy smokes, we're going to get moved if we don't shape up. But I just can't see it with this team.
It shouldn't be required, but they've shown in the past that it does.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like what can we look back at? Like it's the coaching change for
just
one.
all the coaching changes. Look at the two big coaching. Look at the sending down of Jack Campbell. Like it kind of
rattled some cages.
Some stuff. That's no, man. I would if I was the Oilers. I mean, if I'm Connor McDavid, they'll probably get a few days off, right?
For sure.
I'm thinking there's a few days. And obviously, there's maybe some treatment things, but if I'm Connor and Leon, I'm grabbing everybody, and I mean, I think I'm including families and stuff, and I'm hitting Banff Springs for a few days. With
Brad Meyer said that. The boys got to get together here.
Just get everyone together, everybody. I mean everybody, not just the players. Like include everyone, kids, wives, and just try to everyone come together. And maybe it's not even talking about hockey, but just everyone laughing, have some fun. Don't hurt yourself. No skiing, maybe some tube rides. I don't know what it is, but start to develop a little bit more camaraderie because it's not on the ice. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. We got to get to a break here. In the last segment, we'll continue the Oilers talk. Yeah, it's interesting because they got a lot of days in between games. If you're going to make a move, I know any sports fan loves trades, so it'd be the time to do it. Can they do it? Will they do it? I guess we'll find out. I guess a lot depends tomorrow too, Gage. If they win, I think they'll remain patient.
It'd be great to go into like essentially a bye week with a win.
Yeah. It'd be great.
I'd still go on the trip though.
Yes, definitely. Because we've seen them win a couple of games here, and it doesn't really do much because then they're back to their old ways, right? But we'll get to a break here. Up next, we'll shift gears to the good old racetrack. Yeah, you like that, eh? As it's the Las Vegas Grand Prix. F1 analyst Tim Hauraney will join us next here on EST Afternoons with Joaquin Gage and Hernan Salas. But first up, here is the Kubes with a sports update.
The NHL has 2 games with the Jets opening up the night against the Penguins before the Sabres meet with the Ducks. And elsewhere, Brett Howden has signed a 5-year, $12.5 million extension with the Vegas Golden Knights, having 8 goals for 9 points in 20 games this season. And football sees the Giants releasing Daniel Jones after his request for release from the team was granted this morning, with Jones having a chance to be picked up from another team on waivers. And in Philly, the Eagles will be without Devontae Smith this weekend due to a hamstring injury when they battle the LA Rams. NBA Cup group stage action goes down with 8 games, including the Nets tipping off with the 76ers and the Mavericks going at it with the Nuggets. On the other side of the break, Tim Hauraney joins EST Afternoons. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you in the loop.
Ready for an unforgettable sports experience? It's the EST Flyaway to LA. Presented by the 780. Listen daily for the EST Flyaway keyword. Once you hear it, text us at 780-218-9999 for your chance to qualify to fly to LA. Round trip flights for 2, hotel and car rentals, all to go see Edmonton face off against either LA or Anaheim. Plus, experience the brand new Intuit Dome as the Clippers tip off against the Warriors, and top it all off with the Rams kicking off against the Cardinals at SoFi Stadium. This is more than just a trip. This is the ultimate sports experience. The EST Flyaway to LA, presented by the 780 and Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Hockey lives at the Canadian Brew House. Every Oilers game day, get $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light. Plus, you can win game tickets and a surf and turf dinner for 2 at the end of the season. Full details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
It's 2:23. Welcome back to EST Afternoons. Hit us up on the Nasty Chat. Text us 780-218-9999. We're here in the William Huff Studios. We're only at 49 thumbs up. Let's bump those numbers up. Let's do it for all the injured Edmonton Oilers. Let's get close to 100 here. We got about just under 40 minutes to go. Let's bump up those thumbs up, or we're going to get to some F1 talk as it's the Las Vegas Grand Prix tomorrow night, Gager.
Can't wait.
And 2 practice sessions done. One coming up later today, then qualifying, as we're joined by F1 analyst Tim Hauraney, who's down in Las Vegas. Tim, how you doing good out there in the desert?
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, doing well. It was a very late night last night. Like we got in at oh my gosh, what time did I get to bed? I think I got to bed at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh wow!
And like I wasn't even like gambling or partying or anything. Like I literally went from the track to the hotel to bed.
Tim, I got
up like 6 hours later, and I gotta go back and do it again.
Tim, I gotta ask. Last time we had you on, you were in Mexico City, and you said you were gonna go watch some lucha libre. I gotta ask how that went.
Oh, buddy, you've never seen anything. It's incredible. I would say that's one of the coolest things I've gotten to see in a while. I mean, just the athleticism from these guys and girls. It was amazing. Like I had never seen a lucha libre before. And like now, if I lived in Mexico, I would probably go every Friday night. Like it was amazing. I highly recommend that whoever's listening to this, you go to Mexico City, you try and find a lucha libre match because they are incredible atmosphere.
Noted. Tim, let's get to this weekend's events. 2 practice sessions done already. Mercedes looking good. They're in the first 2. What can you tell us about the first 2 practice sessions down in Las Vegas?
It's hard to get a good gauge on like who's going to be, right for pole position. I mean, I was talking to Total Wolf last night after FP1, and he kind of said something to the ilk of, like, we're the dirty track champions. So what he meant by that, I think, is that every time, like, the pavement's slick, there's not a lot of grip there. They're always really quick. And then when the track starts to grip up and come to life, the car kind of fades away. And that's actually something that was, confirmed to me as well by some of his crew earlier that night as well. So I don't necessarily see Mercedes being one of the favorites. I think it's going to be like we've seen with some of the other races, like maybe Spa, where we had, free practice 1 was like a Red Bull. Free practice 2 was like Norris. Free practice 3, you had the Ferraris, and then you had the Mercedes winning the race, kind of thing. And I think this is kind of like what we're gonna see here this weekend. It's going to be like the ebb and flow of different teams at the top. And I think qualifying tonight is not necessarily going to determine who's going to have like really strong race pace for the Grand Prix on Saturday night, only because one, the track is still it's still kind of dirty. Like they open this track up to the public at, I want to say it's around 4 a.m. I think it gets opened back up to the public, and you can drive around it and all that kind of stuff. And so, you're still getting like cars out on the track, like dirtying it up and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think you're ever going to get like full grip out of the pavement that's here at this track. But I mean, it's so hard to tell, guys, who's going to be in pole position, who could win this thing. I mean, there's definitely 3 teams that are in the mix for that, and that's McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari.
Tim, you talk about the dirty track. What is the effect? Because I'm assuming it gets a little bit warm, but what I've been seeing from a lot of the analysts, everyone's wearing jackets, and so the temperature change it must be quite drastic. So what does is that make it even more difficult to kind of get the car in the right window, knowing that the drastic changes of temperature for just tire management and overall the car itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is freezing cold here, by the way. It's really cold. It's colder here because we got a guy who's working with us. He's from Edmonton, and even he was saying it's colder here than it was in Edmonton when he left. It's it's really cold here, guys. So one of the teams that I was speaking about, some of their issues are it's hard to get the tire warmed up, but then once the tire gets warmed up, the graining phase of the tire immediately starts to begin. And what graining is kind of when the tire starts to slowly peel itself apart. It's not a great thing for a tire, simply because you don't get the maximum performance from it. And second of all, it's a waste of a tire if it's going to do maybe half of a push lap and then start to grain. So it's trying to find the right balance where, the tire is going to be optimal, but it's not going to push into that graining phase where it gets too hot. And so that comes down to the engineering of it, guys. That comes down to, how are these engineers getting these tires right for the car? And then it also depends on how the driver is prepping the tire at the same time. That's going to be really important as well. I was talking to Lance Stroll about that, and he was saying that he thought it was probably going to be about 3 laps of tire warm up before they can actually just do a push lap on a set of soft tires. So yeah, I think that whole scenario is going to be interesting to watch, because I think you're going to have some teams that are going to be a surprise, like Haas last night. They were a surprise for sure for me, and so was the one Alpine as well. So I think that's what we're kind of in for later tonight.
Tim, I also read about this is just that Red Bull brought the wrong rear wing, and I don't know how much of that just clickbait or something else.
True.
Oh, is it? So I mean, does this actually bring the chances of Lando? I mean, it's almost pretty much said or done, but could this actually bring Lando closer to the Drivers' Championship for the last 2 races if this kind of doesn't go Red Bull's way?
I mean, it could. I think well, if we do the math, and let's say, because we also have a sprint race remaining too, right?
Yeah.
So if we do the math on all this, and this is just all hypotheticals, but if because Max really struggled last night, right, guys? He was in the back. It was really bad. They actually did bring the wrong rear wing to the circuit. I don't know how that's possible, but regardless, if let's say Lando wins today, this weekend, and Max doesn't score any points, so that's 25 points he's taken out of it. And if it gets fastest lap, it's 26. And then you've got Qatar, where McLaren is probably going to be very strong.
Yeah.
And let's say Lando gets max points there as well. So sprint victory and race win. So what's that? That's 25 plus 5. That's 30, 34 plus 1. So it's about 35, 36 points around there. And Max doesn't score any, right? So now we're talking to a different ballgame, right? Now we're talking going into the last race. We got something here. But again, I mean, that's really I don't see that happening. But I mean, stranger things have happened. It is Formula One, guys. You've seen this before, so you know what it's all about.
F1 analyst Tim Hauraney joining us here on EST Afternoons. Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. Tim, how's the relationship between Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton after challenging Sao Paulo Grand Prix? Brazilian.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think they're all putting on a brave face, and they're all saying the right things. And I know they're going to give Lewis a big send-off at the end of the season in Abu Dhabi, and I could, it's going to end well, right? Mm-hmm. But this isn't the way that they want it to end, right? They want it to end with victories. They want it to end with world championships and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Total Wolf made a good point in the press conference last night where it's kind of like, look, you're not always going to win world championships, right? Like he made a comparison to like Michael Jordan. Right? How many years did Michael Jordan play? And then how many championships did Michael Jordan win? And he kind of equated it to that, where it's like, look, you're not going to win a championship every single year, and you're going to have setbacks, and there's going to be drawbacks on all that kind of stuff. But he is going to a team that is currently on the rise. They are trending in a very good direction. Ferrari looks extremely strong, and there's no reason why they can't carry this into next year. We've spent a lot of time with Ferrari over this weekend, and like the vibes in there are really good. And we haven't really seen that from Ferrari in a very long time. And now they're trying to fight for a Constructors' Championship. So I think the thing with Lewis is that just wants to get this over and get this part of his career like sealed, and then move on to what is going to be the next part with Ferrari.
There was talk, Tim, once everything's all said and done and they start testing again, could we possibly see Lewis in the car after testing in Abu Dhabi, or does this have to wait until the following season?
It does have to wait till the next season.
Okay.
There are still contracts and contract obligations that Lewis still needs to do with Mercedes. So it's not kind of like the Carlos Sainz Ferrari scenario where Ferrari agrees to let Carlos go early so he can go to Williams to do that Abu Dhabi test and get himself integrated within Williams and get himself sort of just a bit of a leg up before 2025 starts. For Lewis, it's a different story. There are way too many different types of contracts and obligations that he still needs to commit to until like the end of the year. Not unless Fred and Toto get together and they agree on something, but I highly doubt, guys, that will happen.
Tim, great stuff. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy down there in Vegas covering the race. Enjoy the race. Enjoy Las Vegas. And like always, my friend, thank you for taking the time. And I'm sure we'll be chatting soon.
Hey, no worries. Thanks very much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
That's Tim Hauraney, F1 analyst. He's the best.
Solid dude, man. Solid dude.
I like how he just casually says, I talked to Toto yesterday.
I know. I'm like, really? God, I got to join him on a run. That's just fantastic. But yeah. I know he's strapped for time, but I just wanted to hear about how it is in Vegas this year, right? Like I've told everyone that obviously last year was their first year, and now getting all the kinks out of it and things like that. I didn't know about cars being able to go out on the track, and they probably have those things where you can test like supercars and you can get out there and ride around and stuff, because it does look dirty. When you watch you can always tell in practice when they were coming around, because sometimes they have to go off the racing line and you see the dust that's fired up. I mean, it is in the desert, but there's a lot.
Yeah. And I just saw this from Bronco Nick. Sorry I missed it, buddy. But he says, why is the race so late? Is it for TV?
I remember last year they were talking about it, and even the drivers said, I don't know why we're having this race at night.
Yeah.
I think it's just more because the lights of Vegas and just the way it looks on TV. And you can't, I mean, you can still see the sphere, but it really pops at night, obviously. You know what? I do think that it could be one of the reasons is because where they're going after, these guys are going through multiple time zones. Tony Gazzola would have a nightmare if he was an F1 driver with all these time zone changes. But they're going straight to the Middle East after that for the last two.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And then the send off for Lewis in Abu Dhabi. That's probably going to be a boring time. Eh?
Well, and then they'll have the final send off. You remember when, I don't know, probably not many people remember this, but Valtteri Bottas, when they he was on the back of a car. And they just he left, and that it was kind of like, see ya. Yeah, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Thanks for nothing.
He did some good things, but it was you could see the look on his face. He was, what am I doing? So they'll probably have something pretty special at the Mercedes factory for Lewis at the after testing in Abu Dhabi.
So the race Edmonton time is midnight, right?
Sorry, buddy. I should.
I think it's 11 Pacific.
I just had it.
Or 10.
We have. So practice is in 4 hours, 52 minutes, and 5 seconds for free practice 3. And then we have qualifying at 11 o'clock our time.
Okay.
And then the race tomorrow, Saturday night, after the Oilers, a masterful win against the New York Rangers. You can flip on over and watch the race at 11 o'clock at Kelly's Pub.
Yeah, Tommy will be on location tomorrow at Kelly's Pub for pre- and post-game shows. Go hang out with Tom Gazzola. I'm sure there's going to be a whack of other media there after the game as well. The All-Stream pregame show will kick off at 7 p.m. That's tomorrow with myself, Tom Gazzola, and Maddie Cassian. So make sure to tune in for that, and then we'll have the post-game show. So it's kind of post-game show is going to be ending. The race will be kind of just underway, so it's perfect for a Saturday night for Hernan.
Good grid walk in there, maybe.
Yeah, nice. WSTers have joined us. Welcome, like always. We thank you for joining us. And the Hustlerites joined us on this Friday, so good stuff there. You got a prediction for the race? Well, it's weird for you because you have your favorite drivers, right? So you want to see them win, but
no, I have favorite drivers, but I kind of try to make an educated guess. From what Tim said and what I've seen so far, I'm looking towards Ferrari.
Okay.
They had their first 1-2 a few weeks ago in years. Carlos has a little bit of a mean on, and look, there's been some upgrades to this Ferrari car. It's going to be difficult because everyone's complaining about grip, right? So I think we're probably going to see, I'd say the over-under on red flags is probably, 1.5.
Yeah. I just want a good race, Gager. I don't want Max
It was a good race last year. No, I don't think you're going to see, Max has the wrong wing. They brought 2 left skates, essentially.
I'm sure he's not upset about it.
Oh, my gosh. I can't wait to get his helmet cam and go into that.
C-Run says Tony G gets a week of jet lag going to Montana. And Big Uke says, it's at night because of the TV visuals, 100%. It's nowhere near as enticing if it's sunny during the day. That's a good point.
Yeah, it doesn't pop. The visuals are spectacular, especially when they're going past that sphere, man.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That's cool. They did Zach might know. They did a UFC there, I think, at the sphere. That looked amazing.
Yeah, that was Sean O'Malley. That was
you're right.
Big night.
That's when he lost to
Merab Dvalishvili.
Yes. Thank you for saying.
Hard name.
Yeah. No, that was such a cool event. Definitely have to check that out in my lifetime, Gager. But coming up next, we will close out the show. We'll continue to talk Oilers, F1, Daniel Jones, and our beer discussion that I almost forgot about. That's all coming up next here on EST Afternoons. But first, we got to give you the keyword. Almost forgot, Gager.
Oh, my gosh.
The EST Fly Away to LA, which is presented by the 780. The 780 is a homegrown local shop right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 100 local vendors from the 780 area code to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport. The key word today is, Gager, you want to guess?
Lights out.
No. Leon.
Okay.
For Leon Draisaitl. Leon, Leon. Text that in to 780-218-9999, and you can be our next qualifier. We'll have our qualifier next here on EST Afternoon, as Zach will call someone who texts in the word Leon. It's EST Afternoons, Joaquin Gage, Hernan Salas. But first up, a sports update with Zach.
The NHL has 2 games on schedule, with the Jets opening up the night against the Penguins before the Sabres meet with the Anaheim Ducks. Elsewhere, Brett Howden has signed a 5-year, $12.5 million extension with the Golden Knights, having 8 goals for 9 points in 20 games this season. Football sees the Giants releasing Daniel Jones after his request for a release was granted this morning, with Jones having a chance to be picked up by another team on waivers. And in Philly, the Eagles will be without Devontae Smith this weekend due to hamstring injury when they battle the LA Rams. NBA Cup group stage action continues with 8 games, including the Nets tipping off with the 76ers and the Mavericks with the Nuggets. It's a quick timeout before we bring up our qualifier for the EST Flyway to LA. I'm Zachary Kubusch, keeping you in the loop.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
780 is just another lame-ass, low-budget local shop. Homegrown right here in Edmonton. 780 is both the shop name and their in-house clothing brand that celebrates all things unique to E-Town. They also work with close to 1,000 local vendors from the 780 to help promote and get their brands off the ground. Check them out online at 780.com or at any of their 5 locations at Southgate, Londonderry, Kingsway, St. Albert, and the Outlet Mall by the airport.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
It's 2:45. Welcome back to EST Afternoons. I have a confession to make, Gager. I made a boo-boo.
A little bit of boo-boo.
A boo-boo. I gave the wrong keyword, but it still works. Just text it in. Sorry about that. I read the wrong list. Getting chirped. There is no controversy. It's just a word, right?
I guess so.
The word for today would have been fame, so I apologize for that. And thank you for everybody reminding me that I'm a horrible person. Zach will get someone on the horn here. They'll be our next qualifier. And just a reminder, Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne coming up 3 to 6. That will be your next chance to qualify. Also on Hello Hockey on Saturday from 10 to noon with Sean Boom Boom Bell and
Boom Boom
Tommy. What do we call Tommy? Hansen. Tony goes old. No, because some of our listeners, we got to give Sean Bell a nickname, and they came up with Boom Boom. I don't know why.
Boom Boom. Hey? Well, whatever. I don't mind.
All right. So earlier today we were talking about beer, and listen, I like when I was younger, Gager, all I drank was beer. I've had every kind of beer. I've tried it all. I like good beer. I've had mediocre beers. I've had really bad beers. All I said to Gager was I like a good Coors Original or like a Banquet. Like I don't mind those beers. Like I'll be fully transparent. I don't like sours, and I don't like beers that taste like fruit or coffee or chocolate or anything like. I want my beer to taste like beer. Is that fair?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, because now like there's so many different flavors of beer.
Yeah.
So, and then you said that like a lot of the, I guess, domestic beer is not very good.
It's not.
But like a good pint though, like it's still tasty.
Look, you like what I refer to, and it's funny because my wife likes men's league beers that they're all sitting in the Yeti. When you get off the ice, they've been sitting, they're ice cold, like they hurt your hand. And that's the only way that you can drink these things. They're terrible.
No.
They're awful. And you have to be super thirsty. So after like a 60, 70 save performance in men's league, which I do, and I come in there, grab an MGD or what have you. Yeah, sure, I'll drink it. But that stuff is gross normally.
Okay, hold on. Hold that thought. Oh, I'll hold my thought too. We got her qualifier, Zach?
Yes, sir. Chad is on the line.
Chad, how you doing today?
I'm doing real well now, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Do you like beer?
I do.
What's your go-to?
I'm a dark beer. I'm either a porter or a stout guy. So try a lot of different ones.
Nice, nice. Good stuff, Chad. Well, congratulations on qualifying. If you win this trip to LA, who would you be taking with you?
It'd absolutely be my wife.
Perfect. Have you guys ever been to LA?
Never LA. We've flown in going into Anaheim, but never LA itself.
Okay. And I'm assuming you've watched the Oilers on the road?
We have. I've done Vegas, Calgary a few times, and my wife and I both went to a game in San Jose a few years ago.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, if you win this trip, it's a flight for two to LA with hotel and rental car. You would leave on the 26th of December, returning on the 30th. You would watch Clippers, Warriors, Rams, Cardinals, and the Edmonton hockey team in either LA or Anaheim. Chad, all the best. Stay warm this weekend and enjoy a nice stout.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect. The grand prize will be given away on November 29th, Gager. That's next week.
Oh my
on the
gosh.
morning show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. So you only got about, 4 days left to qualify, including the Reed Wilkins show today and Hello Hockey tomorrow. Let's get back to the beer talk.
Okay.
Okay, but you can have the bougie beers, but you never want just a good old fashioned pint of Canadian or of a Kokanee.
Well, look, I'll do it, but I mean, if I'm at Boston Pizza, I'm watching a game or whatever, and there's on tap they'll have the Coors or the Canadian. I'll try a pint of Canadian, depending on when that keg went in too, and how cold it's running. It'll taste okay. I'll be, you know what, that's not a bad beer. But the problem is, then you go, that's when it tastes really good. Maybe you went for a run before, and somehow your taste buds have altered. And then you go, and you go to the liquor store and you pick up a 6-pack of it. You take it home. No, man, you're like, what? Yeah, I knew it. Razor blades.
No, I mean, there's some that are worse than others, obviously, Gager. But hell, man, I even enjoy a good old Keystone from time to time.
But again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but they're after men's league hockey beers is how I refer. And you don't have to pay men's league; you can do whatever you want, or whatever. But that's the only time that these things actually taste good. Can't tell me they don't.
If it's cold, it always tastes good. Because but
it has to be cold.
Because I've noticed with you, you like different kinds of you like the fruit flavors.
I'll try them.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan.
Okay.
Of the and who was our winner just a second ago? Chad. If you're still listening, what I suggest to you, because you are into the darker beers, Town Center Brewing or Town Square Brewing. Sorry, they do on tap. They have a barrel-aged liquid lullaby nitro that is spectacular. Go in, grab yourself a pint of that. It's the creamiest, darkest barrel-aged, so it gives you that little bit of that oaky, smoky flavor of it. It's a glorious pint. And I'm not a huge stout guy, but I could probably put down, my max is maybe 2.
Mine too.
They go down real quick.
I do they're not like a dark, but like a trad or that color beer, like a honey brown.
Yeah.
No.
Again, we had this discussion with Jay of when you drink those, you can only get those on tap at a place with a frosty mug.
I don't agree. I don't disagree with that. Spency 5 Cents says I call those beers dad beers.
Yeah. They're men's league or garage beers. You know your buddy that has the fridge in the garage. What's it full of? Trad, Molson Canadian. There's a banquet at the back. Might even have a champagne of beers, a Miller in there somewhere too.
Elias McCracken says, I miss Old Stock in 50.
Oh, Jesus. My God. How old is Elias? Keeps Extra Old Stock and OV50? That was, those are high test ones.
Yeah.
That does not make the trip to the porcelain throne enjoyable if too many of those.
Is there the beer's called Brew House, right? Yeah. We've had I've taken
Those
down
blue
a few.
things?
Yeah, it's like $12 a flat.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
good,
$12
though.
for like 50 of them. That tells you right there.
Kyle says Bud Light. I do not like Bud Light or Coors Light.
It's the
No.
official beer of NHL guys too. You see them at an out, they'll be like, I remember going out with like Kelly Buckberger. I'd be standing beside him and then I'd turn around and I'd look back and there'd be 50 Coors Lights sitting on the table. I'm like, what the?
You know what's is a really good beer? Hit the thumbs up. We got about 4 minutes here. Please hit the thumbs up. We're at an all-time low. You remember Molson Dry?
Oh yeah.
Oh, those were good.
No,
In the
they
bot.
weren't.
Yes, they were. Come
They're
on. You
terrible.
can't tell me they weren't good.
You know, why don't we
Molson Dry, anyone? Anyone?
Let's go drink some Colt 45.
Labatt's Blue. That's old school. Old school. Zach, what's your beer?
I really enjoy Coors Light. I drink Coors Light because Bud Light doesn't pay me enough.
Okay, Brock.
No, but I like that. And then, of course, 6 o'clocker lager, which is on sale right now, $12.99 for a 4-pack at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. That's my favorite lager. But I also like the Weebeer Dunkel. Any of that dark German beer.
I'll try pretty much like there's a Lowenbräu beer that's good. Original 16 is good.
I haven't tried that one.
It's really good. I saw one.
Molson Golden. Yeah, no. I mean, whatever. It's fine. I drink them. You know, I'll but if I want a lot of the times I want something that tastes good, you know,
but they don't taste bad. Redbeard says, I need to come in and bring in a beer flight again. Yes, you do.
Yeah, the palate needs cleansing, buddy. This is terrible. I'm dealing with Philistines here.
Oh boy. I don't know, because you're an IPA guy, right?
I'm an every
I like lagers more than anything.
I do like a good blow the back of your head off IPA.
What strongest beer you've ever had?
You know, one of the best tasting beers, and I was in Amsterdam, the Duvals. They're like 9%, and in where I was staying in the hotel bar, they had Duvals on tap. Oh my God, it was liquid gold going down my throat. Just the perfect beer, and of course you have a Heineken there.
Oh.
That's what ruins it, is because, and it's the same as these extra cold men's hockey league beers. You have them at men's league or whatever, or softball. They're in the cooler. They're so cold. And then you go buy them. It's just not the same. You have to set it up in the right type of atmosphere, the right moment to have these types of beers where they really hit the spot.
The strongest beer I ever had was Red Horse. It's from the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever had it's a Jamaican beer, a red
Stripe?
Red Stripe?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's okay. But again, it doesn't travel well.
I feel like you're a beer snob, Gage.
I am a beer snob.
Eli says,
I told when I came home from Germany, I didn't drink beer for 4 years.
Oh yeah,
because I couldn't. There's this. If you're ever in the south of Germany, this place makes as much beer in a year that Budweiser does in a month, and they're called Augustiners. I swear to you, you will. I was going to say something really rude there, but it will ruin you for months coming back to Canada and drinking ordinary beer. This was the king of kings of beers. Augustiners from München down south in Germany. You'll go, oh my gosh, he's brilliant. He knows exactly what he's talking about when it hits your lips.
Bronco Nick says, I like Peroni or Moretti, lighter Pilsner tasting beers from Italy. Yeah, they're not bad.
Again, you know what? I when I was dominating the ice sheets in Italy, Peronis were like, a 6-pack was like, I want to say it was like €3 for a 6-pack. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And then they have Peroni here. It was $24, which at that point, which was crazy, but it sucks. It's terrible.
But
that's because I had it in Italy.
Okay, but so if you ever want to buy a good old Hernan beer, it's got to just be a normal beer. Lager or an ale or an IPA, but no fruit flavor, no chocolate flavor, and no sours. Is that fair?
That's fine. And if you really, I'm going to pump a place up to this. It's a Keg and Cork on 91st, and I want to say like 36th or something like that. They've Napstered beer. Okay, you go into their beer fridge. They're all singles, and you can just mix and match. I spend hours in that fridge, and it's one of the best places in the city of Edmonton. So go in there, get a 4-pack of something. You can go all over the place. They have beers that are $100 in there.
Wow.
I would never touch those, but
YouTube Trev says coconut porter from Hudson's when I first turned 18. Never had a beer quite like it. And with that, well, you know what? It also cool. I'll try a beer if the bottles looks nice.
Well, if you go into this place,
yeah,
it'll blow your mind. Yeah.
That's also the way I kind of pick my beers as well. Great conversation today. Big shout out to Guy Flaming, host of the Pipeline Show. Hit him up at TPS_Guy to get all information on his show. And Tim Hauraney, F1 analyst, for joining us live from Las Vegas. No, see, Ron, I'm not limiting myself. I've tried a lot of beers, a lot. I'm just saying I don't mind a domestic beer from time to time, a nice pint. That's all I'm saying. I've tried a lot of beers. Hell, my first bartending job was at Brewster's. Those beers were good.
Let's go try some beers.
Okay, we got to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in all week and all the support. We'll be back tomorrow with the Oil Stream pregame show at 7 with Tom Gazzola, Matt Cassian, and myself. For Joaquin Gage and Zachticum, I'm Hernan Salas. You've been listening to EST Afternoons here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Up next, it's the Reed Wilkins Show. Thank you for all the support this week. We'll talk on Monday. Ciao.
Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website, edmontonsportstalk.com.